Hi. One of the things that I wanted to go over today in our class was showing you some examples of a good presentation. Because from here on out, you are going to be starting to not only finalize your proposal, but start working on your team presentation and the different slides that you'll be using. This first slide does not need to be included. It could be included. Basically, it's just letting the audience know where the presentation is going to go by the end of the presentation. So they individually introduced the different sections of this proposal. Another thing that you'll notice is that on this presentation, as well as presentations that are effective, there are transition slides. So this slide, it just basically introduces where the presentation is moving to next. So this is one of the slides that they introduced their team with. And you'll see this in the example. You can also look at this example on your own, but they're dressed professionally, and it goes through what their role is in the company. And then each section after that, major sections, there are these transition slides. So you basically would indicate the different section, which would be the background and company values, and then indicate who it's presented by as well. You'll notice that a lot of slides that are in this presentation and that are very effective, as you'll see from the video about effective or persuasive presentations, it's better to have less words than more words. So if you can have a slide like this, where it basically gives the theme, which is more than a client, and then the different words that describe this company's background and how it ties in, that would be more effective than having sentences that the audience would have to read. This slide has to do with the company background as well, and it shows the different clients that they worked with. And then each time a company name came up, they actually talked about what they did to help that company be more effective in their communication. And then again, here's another transition slide for the statement of need by who it's presented. And this way it's easy to make sure you don't miss the transitions. So in this slide, you can see that this is a statement of need. They have the 3 bullet points. They talk about the overall image, the increasing student involvement, and the strengthening external communications. And then instead of having a bunch of bullet points, they just indicate how they're going to do that to the class by presenting, looking at their audience. They also include this slide here, which is before Friend Consulting and after Friend Consulting, just to be persuasive in how they help these different companies. Here's another transition slide, which talks about the internal and external communications, which yours will be individual. So you will have internal communications, and then another section called external communication. And in here they included the different images. They included the SWOT analysis, and notice that the SWOT analysis covers the entire page. They talk about their competition comparison or their comparative analysis. And they compared the Excel Center to the Writing Center and the Math Lab. And then the recommendations section, which this is a transition slide. The recommendations, even though they verbally tell the class what they are, they visually show the class what they are in the presentation. So here's the second recommendation, the third recommendation. The one thing I wanted to mention at the bottom of that second recommendation was a link to that video that I showed you in class. The conclusion slide, and instead of having a lot of words, they basically use images where they said Friend Consulting plus Excel Center equals success. And then any questions. So you can see this presentation doesn't have a lot of words, but it's highly effective, especially when you think about the rule of 3 and you think about how to get your audience engaged and visually is the way to do it.